Hey guys, thank you for coming today to 8020, and today we're going to be discussing beards. We're going to be showing you how to shape it up, how to line it. We're going to talk about the details of the hairs of the beards, and we're going to give you all the nuances that you need to know in order to make sure that you are able and equipped on how to style and shape up a beard. First and foremost, what we want to do is we're going to be actually spraying down the beard with a keratin conditioner mixture. That will help us straighten out the beard completely while we are blow drying it, and it will help protect that beard hairs from the heat of the blow dryer. If you don't do that, as soon as the client goes home after you've shaped it and he brushes his beard out, there's going to be little hairs everywhere flying out. But we do that first. We're going to taper in the beard from the sides, we're going to do the lineup in the back, and then we're going to shape it up. So we're going to be tapering in the beard from here. We're going to show you how to do the lineup, what to look for, what to not do when you're lining up the back of the beard. And then obviously we're going to shape up the beard and give the nice pointy shape that the client requires. Also, we're going to line up the top of the beard. We're going to show you how far you need to go, what to look for, and what to avoid. So first, we're going to be spraying down the beard with this, it's a Loretto two-phase beard and hair conditioner with keratin. This is really good for dry and brittle hair, and it helps protect the hairs from the heat, as well as making sure that the keratin helps straighten out the beard 100%. So when we are blow drying the beard, you want to make sure that you have settings, high settings and high heat and high speed. You want to set it on high heat and high speed, and then use the round brush in order to make sure that you're able to grab the hair and pull down as you are blow drying the beard. Have a flat nozzle. This will help, and as wide as possible. This will help cover as much ground as possible and make your job a little bit faster. Okay, so now that you've blow dried the beard and you have gotten it as straight as possible, if you guys noticed, while I was blow drying the beard, I would start from the bottom, put my blow dryer on the comb, and I would pull away from the client's face, making sure that I don't burn the client. So that's very important. Make sure you do that. Once you've done that and you've blow dried the beard and you got it as straight as possible, now you can really see how long the beard actually is, as well as if there's any inconsistencies in the beard after you've blow dried it. Next step is we're going to be tapering in the top, doing the lineup here, and we're going to line up the back. So for tapering in the beard, you want to make sure that you're not pushing the fade too far in, especially with a long beard like this. We don't want it to be really, really short and then you have a long beard. So we're going to keep the taper nice and tight to make sure that it is, we're not removing too much of the bulkiness on the beard on this side. So here we have previously done the skin, just kind of taking down everything to the skin. So we're gonna fade the beard in using our clipper, and then we're gonna do a little bit of clipper over work in order to completely blend in the beard. In order to start doing the taper, we're gonna start with fully open. So it's very similar to fading and like doing a skin fade or doing a taper. You kind of put in your first guideline, you get rid of the first line, and then you move on to the next step. So open and closed. So we want it fully open, and you want to use the edge of the blade in order to make sure that you get the fade done in an efficient way without going too far down into the beard. So always use the edge of the blade. So here's your first guideline. We're going to fully close the clipper and get rid of the first guideline. Then halfway, go a little bit lower. So now we're going to be putting on our half guard onto the clipper. So we're going to go fully open. We're gonna take out this, probably bring it down to here, and then we're gonna get rid of the top line. Once I've done that, I'm gonna fully close it, and then I'm gonna use the corner of the blade in order to get rid of that line. Once that part's done, I'm gonna go ahead and turn my clipper upside down, and I'm gonna halfway close the clipper, and I'm gonna go with the grain in order to blend this part in. And then fully open it, and use the corner here just to get rid of some of the bulkiness. Now we've tapered in from skin into the beard. We're gonna do this part here with clipper over comb. When using the clipper over comb technique on the beard, I always like to start with the clipper being fully open. I don't wanna go too short accidentally by having the clipper fully closed. You're gonna put the comb in, you're gonna move it across, and then you wanna use the head to tilt the comb out. So put it in, lift up, and then cut. That to me here is sufficient enough for me to move on to my next step, which is doing the lineup in the back and the lineup on the top. And then after that, I'm gonna go in with my clipper and I'm gonna shape this beard, getting rid of all the fuzziness here that we have. So now that we have done the tapers on both sides, we've kind of faded in the beards a little bit. Now we're gonna move into doing the lineup. It's very important to make sure that you're not pushing that line too far down. You wanna make sure that you give the client the maximum amount of fullness on the beard. So if I was to take this line and bring it all the way down, I'm losing all this top part. So it's very important to always see where the gaps are in the beard and then determine where you're gonna be drawing the line. You're gonna grab your liner, you're gonna turn it on, and you're gonna set your first guide starting from this point, and then you're gonna come here and you're gonna draw your curve here, and then you're gonna meet in the middle. There you have it. Now we have a nice clean line all the way across. When I go in with my straight razor after to line it up with the blade, this will become very, very sharp and it's gonna look really good. So now that we've done the lineup on top, we wanna do the lineup in the back. This is very important to keep the beard nice and clean. You know, my client is not necessarily growing his beard for any competition or anything like that. So we're gonna square up the back. Your line needs to follow the natural curvature. So we'll keep a little bit of a curvature, but making a straight line at the end, cleaning it up. And this is what this looks like. So we've made the line, but you can still see a little bit of hairs sticking out on the side. That's okay. Once we shape the beard, we're gonna go in with the clipper and we're gonna clean all that up so nothing gets pushed over this way. Now that I have lined up the top and did this side, and so now both sides are lined up, it's very important for me to use the mirror to make sure that the lines that I've done here are symmetrical. Go ahead and look up for me a little bit. So now that I've kind of taken a good visual, I'm gonna tilt his head a little bit over to make sure the curvature is done well. This looks good. This looks good. However, I do feel like this one is slightly curved up on this side. So we're gonna go back in, we're gonna touch this corner to bring it down a touch to make sure that it's matching this side. So now that we have made sure that the lines are symmetrical and they're done, now we're going to move on to the fun part where we actually shape the beard and give it the style that we want. Okay, so now it's time for us to actually shape the beard. But before you go ahead and do that, it's very important that you ask the client certain questions like how long do you want to keep it? How short do you want to go? What shape do you want? Do you want it square? Do you want it pointy? Do you want it round? These questions will determine where you start and where you finish. In this case, I've already had a conversation with my client. He wants a more of a pointy, tapered shape. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. But we're gonna make sure that we are able to keep as much length as possible. So we're not gonna go super short, we're gonna keep the length, but we're gonna shape it into a point. We're gonna make sure that it's nicely tapered and cleaned out. So in order to do that, we're gonna start from the side. So we're gonna turn on our clipper and you wanna go straight down, just cutting away any flyaways. And then we're gonna come back here in the back, we're gonna cut all these flyaways, and then we're gonna move on to the next side, do the exact same thing. And then I'm gonna stand on the side of my client and I'm gonna use my clipper to see anything that's sticking out and cut it with the clipper. So I'm gonna do this motion here, being very careful not to, when I'm going down, I'm landing my clipper on the bottom of his beard and accidentally cutting a chunk off his beard. Pay attention to my movements and pay attention to how slow and how careful I am with using this clipper. If this is your first time doing it, definitely put on a guard, make sure you're careful. If you've done this before and you just wanna, go ahead and dig right in, take off the guard, fully close your clipper, and let's get into it. Now that we have done the cleanups, going down the sides and going around the beard, now it's time for us to actually shape the beard. So my client here, he wants a pointy beard, but we don't want it to come to a point like an arrow. We want it to be tapered in and then kind of, rounded / pointed at the bottom. In order to start off this process, you want to make sure that you get the right length for your client. How I highly recommend you do that is place your comb into the beard and ask your client to tell you stop. This will give you an idea of how far down he wants to keep the beard. When you're doing a pointy beard, the point will be the longest point in the beard. So everything from this point going up is just gonna get slightly shorter as you get to the top, to the back of the jaw.
There.
Here? Yep. So once we have decided where the client wants it, I'm gonna immediately keep the comb where it is. I'm gonna turn on my clipper and I'm gonna put my first guideline. So now that we know exactly where it's gonna be, from this point on, it's gonna get a little bit shorter going up. So come across, going straight. From this point, from the center point, you wanna tilt your clipper over and start taking out. This is the first cut. It's very rough, but I want to take a look in the mirror to make sure that I've got the right length and I've also got the first shape to kind of start with. So I'll go ahead and look in the mirror. I'll say, okay, so this is the lowest point. This is where we want it to be. And so from this point on, it's just going to get a little bit shorter. Now we're gonna taper these sides in order to get it essentially cut into this look. You can tell your clients, you can say to them, I can either cut the beard into the shape that you want, or we can do a, kind of a rounder cut, and then you can shape your beard into a point whenever you want to do that. In this case, we're gonna be actually cutting the shape into the beard. So from this point here, which is the longest point that we have, we're gonna be cutting off about this much on an angle, and then we're gonna go back down in order to make sure that it's nicely tapered, and we're gonna give it that tapered look. This is what this looks like. Take it slow, take it one cut at a time, one step at a time. You don't want to overcut or dig too deep into the beard. Cut a little bit at a time. You can always cut more if you need to. So now that I've done this on the facade of the beard or on the outside of the beard, I'm gonna get my client to actually look up, and I'm gonna clean up the bottom. Now, as you saw, I did not line up the bottom, I just cleaned it up. The reason being is because you want to make sure that you let your clients grow everything on the neck. This is what will support the beard, this is what will keep it from sinking in, and this is what will help it keep the shape that it has while cutting it. If I was to line it up from the bottom and remove everything on his neck, then his beard is going to feel very weak, and he's going to be able to see right through it. So now that we have shaped in the beard the way we want, I know we're going to be using product and bringing this in a little bit more. Because we're trying to maintain most of the length, I don't want to cut this too far in. I want to keep the length here, and knowing that we're going to use a little bit of product to just shape it in and get it into the perfect point that we want. It's always important to keep that in mind. When a client wants to keep his beard long, you want to really cut as little as possible. So these are the kind of tips and tricks that I give you and I share with my clients to let them know, listen, if you want to keep it long, let's keep most of the beard. I'm going to cut it into the shape, but we're not going to go super aggressive in a way where, we're going to lose a ton of length. And especially if he wants to keep it nice and long at the front. So now that we have done that, we want to move into the mustache. Now my client likes to grow this part in, so it kind of complements the rest of the beard, but he doesn't like it too much over his lips. So we're going to clean up his lips. We're not going to put a straight line right here, making it super obvious that we've cleaned this up. Instead, we're going to use the corner of the trimmer in order to go into the beard and clean it up that way. So this is what that part looks like. What do you think, Jason? Is that better? A little bit shorter?
Just a little bit.
Okay, so now, we've blow dried the beard, done the lineups, did the mustache, shaped the beard. Now for the final detailing is we're gonna be using the scissors in order to cut any more flyaways that we have on the beard. And we're gonna walk the scissors around the beard in order to make sure that we're not digging into the beard or just cutting anything that might stick out. This will give us a final look that we can put product in and shape really well. So grab your scissors and make sure that you're away from the beard. So you're not super close, you're away from the beard, and you just wanna cut any hairs that may be sticking up.
So now we're gonna use the straight razor to line up the top and the back, and we're gonna do it dry. Very important to stretch the client's skin while you're doing this in order to make sure that you're getting as straight of the line as possible and to avoid any cuts or anything like that. So we're gonna start from the top. We're gonna stretch the client's skin, and then you're gonna put your straight razor on a slight angle, and you're gonna go ahead. Here's a pro tip. When you stretch the client's face and you come with the straight razor and you create a straight line, once you let go of the skin, it immediately creates a curve by itself. So stretch the client's face, and once you release it, it will create the curve that you're looking for. So after we've done the lineup with the straight razor, we want to make sure that, again, the lineups are nice and straight and they're symmetrical. So we're going to do the same thing, ask the client to look up, and take a look at the line, bring our eyesight right over here to the corner where the beard meets the mustache, and we're going to make sure that they're level and not one side is higher than the other. And so this looks good. We can ask the client to look down, and now we're going to be putting in the product and shaping in the beard. So now that we're done with the beard, we're going to be putting in the beard balm. This will help give hydration and moisture back into the beard, but also give it a little bit of hold so we can shape the beard properly and get the nice look that we are looking for. Educated Beards product are really good. This is what we like to use here. They're natural, all organic ingredients. Open up the lid, take out about this much, put it in your hand, make sure it gets emulsified, and we're gonna put it in the client's hair. I like to start by asking the clients to look up, so go ahead and look up. We're gonna start from the bottom. Make sure your fingertips get onto the skin. And then we're gonna go down. Take your comb and comb that beard back out. And now, this is the important part. Now we're gonna shape the beard with our hands. So to start, go ahead and pat the beard down with your hands, and then ask the client to look up. So go ahead and look up. Put your hands under the beard and then ask him to look down. As he looks down, the beard flares out. And then we can go ahead and shape it right in. You want to tell your clients that this is what they need to do at home in order for them to style their beard as well. The beard's not going to look like this coming out of the shower, so they'll have to put a little bit of effort into it. There you go, Jason. What do you think?